Charme, peace and freedom. Ekwebu, come on in the house. Nini, welcome. And Geru Nefer, good evening. Or, depending on where you are, Heru Nefer, which means good day. I welcome you to Shenu Living, and I'm Queen Mother Imaku. I want to add a tag on to the topic that I had yesterday, which was talking about Njusu, Simbis, African water spirits. And I felt that I needed to clarify a few things. Well, mainly one thing. In um, in the Zimbabwe Shona and the Bele tradition, where the water spirits are referred to as Njusu, they are of the water. Simbi, which is a term that's used throughout various traditions in the motherland and also in the various aspects of Haitian Vodun and and the like. They're not just about the water. In fact, they really represent mastery of the self because they represent all aspects of the life force, just like Ray. The life force is in everything, everything. Even something seeming as though it stands still, there's energy in it. And we are full of energy. We're here, okay. Um, but knowing all of the elements, understanding all of the elements, mastering all of the elements without and within is the ultimate goal. It doesn't mean that we have to expect perfection, although in Kemetic culture we talk about excellence all the time. In the book of Ptahhotep, it says, strive for excellence in all that you do. So, yes, we look for things to be the best that they possibly can be, and what we need to do to help get ourselves there. But also, it's about understanding the components of what makes up life. And so, energetically, as I've shared before, it's important to understand the various facets of what comprises energy. As you come to know that, then you come to a better understanding of how to conduct your life, how to be in sync with the world, with the environment, with your home, with your neighbors, your family, okay? And also having a better grasp on your purpose for being here and carrying out your purpose. Of course, in Kemetic culture, it is believed that every act that you do is a prayer. Why? Because it is believed that if you are in alignment, then you're going to be able to manifest what you need, get the lessons that you need, proceed forward in the way that you need, and know that through being way, one with the one, divinely connected to your purpose, that you'll have a greater sense of not only well-being, but also a greater understanding of the universe. So I just mentioned about the community, your family, all things on a local level, but this also extends to an understanding of the planet. And then the further in you go, it it extends to the understanding of the universe. Oh, yes. But that's not something that you want to jump into right away. Life is about stages. Life is about perpetual learning if you open yourself up to it. But life is also about observation. It is said in a Kemetic axiom that to learn the way of the world, observe nature. So, with the Simbi, who I had shared with you yesterday, represent the various aspects of not only the water spirits and all of the life that is around it, and also the guardians, the animals, the very water itself, and in all of their aspects. But also, you find Simbi in the woods, because Simbi mostly represented by serpents. As I shared with you yesterday, serpents represent wisdom. And if you learn more about snakes, you'll find out about how they are in the various environments that they live in, whether it's in the woods and they're hanging in the trees, or if they're on the ground and they're going into holes. And by the way, serpents love security. Serpents don't like to move around a lot as far as setting up a home base. And so it's really good to be able to call upon that energy if you're looking to move and remain stabilized. Men or menu, which represents permanence. If that's what you're looking for, then yes, that snake energy actually is excellent. If you look at how serpents in all their various sizes and um, species are in the water, you know, uh, and also their process of shedding their skin. Now, it's my understanding that snakes actually, when they're going through the process of shedding their skin so they can grow new skin and so they can continue to grow in general, because just like how we shed our skin every day, flaking off and whatnot, we shower it off. Um, uh, Serpents do the same thing. They need to shed their skin, but during that process, they go temporarily blind. Now, that's a lot of trusting in the universe. If Think of that. In fact, search it on YouTube. Um, I'm sure that there are videos that you can see where you'll understand what I'm saying. So, dealing with the Simbi also represents having that divine trust that things are going to go forward in the way that they need to, even if there's a time where you can't really understand, you can't see what the outcome is going to be, but you are able to just yield to the divine forces and know that your guides are going to carry you safely through. If you have a good relationship with your guides, if you have faith, if you have high faith in the divine, if you end up having faith in yourself and trusting the process through your growth and your period of not really understanding what the heck is going on. I was sharing with you about initiation. Initiation is all about that. This whole thing of just going and plunking down some money somewhere and going through a little ceremony or a rigorous ceremony and then thinking that that's it. You have not really gone through initiation. It's about introspection. It is about opening yourself up to growth. And also, it is patience. It is the journey. So, as you observe nature and all of the elements that serpents actually represent, and that's not only water, but it's fire as well. Air, there, people think of air when it comes to serpents because of the first eye connection, but also because they represent the intellect and the mind, which is why the serpent or snake has been vilified, because in some ancient stories, listen, the patriarch just believed that they were getting too smart, okay? It represents when you come into your own, when you have higher levels of knowledge and wisdom, and when people get threatened by it, quite frankly, okay? And then also because serpents were associated with the divine feminine. So when you observe the behaviors of a snake, think how you feel, think how you relate to what you are seeing, because actually it's always about who you are in the scenario. Who are you in the story? Where are you in the story? And gleaning the wisdom from that. Now, Ray. People always think that Ray is the sun. Of course, we have sun rays, and people mispronounce the name. They say Ra. It is not Ra, it is Ray. Ray is a very intense energy, but also can be very subtle. But then also there are stories showing how he goes through his life force phases where he's losing his vitality, but he still has all this bravado and moxie, thinking that he is still being respected by all who observe him. And here he is as a guardian or nature walking on earth, and he's basically falling apart. right? But in his mind, he's still young and vital. And he's not seeing how humans are laughing at him in his face, behind his back, straight up just dissing him. And Ray is just in denial. He's just refusing to to see the reality of it. It was only until his daughter Sekhmet decided, listen, I got to defend my father. She's aligned with the sun energy as well, but she is a Leonine figure. And by the way, snakes and lions are often de- they'll have depictions of a guardian as both a lion or a serpent. Not uncommon. But anyway, so Sekhmet has to come and straighten things out on behalf of her father because she respects life. She respects the life force. And because humans at that point were basically just living it up and not respecting their lives or the life force. And therefore, because they were acting all kinds of ways, they were bringing disease. Their health was in peril. The health of everybody in the community was in peril because people were not respecting their own bodies and not thinking about what their actions were doing to have an impact on everybody else. It was basically just a wreck. And we can see those correlations today, right? So Sekhmet is about the passion of living and also the passion for justice and avenging the weak, the helpless. Because certainly, if you have people who are just going around and flinging themselves here and there with their diseases and whatnot, and not giving any kind of a care about how it's going to hurt their neighbors, then it's a problem, and it creates epidemic. And in these stories, that's when we find that Nebuchadnezzar, or the Most High, decides, okay, it's time to start over. We need to do a we need to do a do-over because these humans are just really jacking things up, and this is not what I intended. So we have these stories where, there's this brilliance of life, but then there are the stories where we see the worst of mankind. I always remind people the planet can go on very well without humans. Yeah. Because most of the problems that are here are because of us. And that has to do with our hubris. It has to do with our short-sightedness. At the same time, it has to do with selfishness and really not having enough forethought about what is to come. Living for today and not for tomorrow. We find many, many passages in Kemetic scripture that talks about the importance of, yes, having respect for yesterday, having respect for your life today, but also having enough respect for what's coming tomorrow so that you will be okay in older age, but also so things will be better in future generations. Oh, yeah. So I shared with you the other day about how water spirits don't like a lot of noise. And you have to have things absolutely clean. Otherwise, they will not communicate with you because Simbis represent communication. Simbi is all about connection, connectivity, and the purity of messages that are brought in clarity and in truth in order to advise you and in order to advise others, and also to connect you with your high ancestors. Okay. But also, listen, they will not connect with you, not only if the place is not clean, if you're not clean, your environment is not clean, and if it's just too noisy. All these things have to be taken into account. And in the Kemetic tradition, the serpent who represents not only purity, but respect for silence is Meret Seger, and her name means she who loves silence. Some believe that it was because she was the guardian of the mortuary. Others believe that she's tied into well, I know I believe this, that she is tied into, and by the way, with the mortuary, what is silent, right? You don't have all this noise there unless you got some crazy people coming to party in the graveyard at night. But anyway, she represents mastery to the highest degree. I mentioned before about the Germae, the Germae, the Gerumae, also Gerutmae, who is the guru, someone who is working to live a pure life and to come to enlightenment and to serve, and who is the yogi, the yogini, and this is what we understand in the Shenu practice that I teach, and also who's mastered meditation, understands the importance of really nurturing yourself, your life force energy, and who has a deeper understanding of health issues, and who has moved on to that other area of life where it's about becoming the sage. So the very fact that Meretseger or Meretsegerit is depicted as this beautiful white cobra, much like Dambala, who also represents mastery and also creation. Meretseger, however, represents a level of stillness and observation that comes at a really high level. In fact, her temple was up in the mountains. You had to climb. So that represents the spiritual journey and making the effort to go beyond what is comfortable for you in order to attain what you need to be the best that you can be. Self-mastery, respecting your life, not making assumptions about what people perceive you to be from based on your past instead of the reality of your present, and knowing that you have to keep going. You can't rest on your laurels. You have to move forward and contribute to your well-being every day, and also be focused on the well-being of those around you. And the importance of truly connecting way and way, one with the one, so that your next phase of life, when you transition, will be one that is of high respect, that you'll be welcomed as an ancestor of light, and that you will continue to contribute and also take your rest as necessary, but contributing to the wisdom of your bloodline. Okay? Now, this all sounds like the pie in the sky stuff, oh, wait till I'm dead, wait till I get to heaven. It's, well, there's actually there's a lot of truth in that. The idea of being anxious to get to your, well, I don't want to say anxious because, that I'm not trying to say that somebody would just try to take themselves out so that they can hurry up and get to the other side. What I am saying is the notion of being very satisfied with where you are in life and knowing that the continuation of it is going to be one that is peaceful for you because you lived out your life purpose on the planet. And then it is accepting going into the next phase. Life is a circle, and energy continues. Energy does not die. It just changes form. All right. So I think that's all I really wanted to share with you today as a part 2 to what I brought to you yesterday. I pray that the rest of your day is glorious. And we say, Merea, which means much love. Heri, which means to be at peace. Teni, which means to be accountable. Jebewi, which means to be merciful and compassionate. in all the right places and the right times that are appropriate. Give thanks and praise. And then finally, mend the gym. Stay sweet.